Hey friends, welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're taking a look at the TSPROF Pioneer sharpening system. It's about a year old already, but I want to tell you all about it because it's brand new to me. This is going to be a whole playlist of videos, I believe. I think today I'm just going to do the unboxing and assembly of the unit. Just of the base unit, the way it is in the box. Now there are upgrade versions that you can buy, but the base unit is $341 US at tsprof.us. I've got a link down below, a referral link for you that you can use. If you're in Canada, you can buy it on amazon.ca. They've got it for 505 Canadian, which is pretty close to the US price once you factor in the exchange rate. 341 US on the day I'm recording this is 488 Canadian. So like that's less than $30 Canadian difference, you know, a little premium that you're paying. So yeah, if you're in Canada, get this on amazon.ca, I would suggest, because otherwise you're going to be paying shipping and import fees and duty on top of the prices, and that's going to spend more than your $30. So yeah. Also, keep watching because there's going to be a giveaway included. Let's unbox this thing, unseal it, and we'll see what we got in here. Alrighty. There's a manual included, and let's take a close look at everything that's in this box. Comes with your clamps, comes with a C-clamp, and I'm going to talk about that more. Comes with some stones, some sharpening stones. These are diamond stones. Comes with the base unit. Well, it doesn't come with, you know, this is the base part of the thing. Well, I shouldn't use the word base because this is the actual base that it goes onto. Now there are options to upgrade this, and this fits into another option. I'll tell you those details a little bit later on. Here's some little pieces of hardware in little baggies. There we go. The clamps, the crossbar, and there, almost lost that tiny little screw there, and the rest of the crossbar. Oh, and there's another one of those little screws right there. So that's everything that is in the box. So let's organize this with the camera a little bit better. We won't be using the clamp right now, so let's put the clamp to the side. It's just a 2-inch C-clamp, and if you are going to use it, you know, it's going to be a good addition. The instructions, we'll take those out of the bag. Right in the middle, the staples in the middle, that's where the English pages start. There's some information on the screen right there, and you can hit pause and we'll read that. The very next page has got a list of all the parts, all the pieces and everything, and how to use it. So we'll use that, and we'll get this party started. So to start the assembly, let's put the base onto the main part of the unit. There's 3 holes. So this center section, make sure you use the side where these screws with the heads on them, that you can actually get your fingers on these heads of these screws to tighten them so that they can fit in there. If you do it the other way, you know, they'll stick out. So let's start putting it together. So let's put these in there. That's 1. 2 and 3. Now, you can use the included 3mm hex tool if you want to. I've just got a 3mm screwdriver right here. so I'll just use that because it's a little bit quicker. Don't need to be super tight with these, just snug them up. All right, so there's that. Now on this unit, you see the black main body, and then there's a big hex screw right there. This has been shipped for packaging with that down. So take those two screws out. And now, it can swing up. The extra hole here, that's just because, right and left during their manufacturing, these two parts are identical. So they just needed the one to store down here. But it's got more, no big deal. Now you got those screws. There was also two other screws that look very much like it. They're just a tiny bit shorter in the package. You can use the longer ones or the shorter ones to now tighten this up. You line it up so that the screw can go in this back hole and it'll screw into the black main body. So we'll tighten that down. Well, I won't tighten it quite yet, just put it in for now. Get the other one started before I tighten it down. So I can tighten that by hand mostly. And again, just snug is fine. You don't have to reef on it. You don't have to put loads of pressure on it, not a lot of torque. It's designed to be held very snugly just like that. And this is the main unit. You pull on this lever to rotate this arm, the stone holder, the clamp holder. So let's put the clamp holder on next. In that one little package, there was that little aluminum washer and this flathead screw. And you've got your main crossbar. There's a cutout section in here. That mates up with that side. So if the unit's facing you, you can read TSPROF right on there. Feed that in there and get it started by hand. So you're not going to be cross-threading anything and yanking on it too hard. The same 3mm driver snugs that up. And pull out the lever just a little bit, and then that'll allow you to tighten this up. Not again, over tighten, just make sure it's snug. And now that lever can be pulled and you can rotate this arm. Now, if you let go of the pressure, it'll click because there's a spring inside here pulling it back. So that's how that goes. Now you can put the clamps on there. Now these clamps are just slightly bigger than the Blitz clamps, but they're smaller than the Cadet clamps, which are in turn smaller than the K03 clamps. All but the Cadet clamps fit on here. So if you want bigger clamps, put bigger clamps on there, but it comes with these. And so let's put those on there. Remember, there's a little nylon washer right here that's designed for, snugging on there better without, binding and locking up. You don't need to make these very tight. You just put them on. Just make sure you put them both in the same orientation. There's an adjustment or tightening screw on one side, and then there's the threaded on the other side. So make them so they're both up on the same side, and just get them started in there. And I'm just putting them roughly on there. The placement's not perfect, but that doesn't matter at this point. We're just assembling it. Here is your angle rod, or your angle adjustment rod. There's a bunch of angles written on there. Well, not written on there. They're actually laser etched onto there. And it goes back into here. So we got that. Make sure that's screwed out. Use the angle numbers, face those towards the clamps. Put that in there, snug it up. Now we'll adjust that later on. There's an O-ring sitting on there as well. That's for a thickness compensation later on. Now those angles that are on here, they're not going to be exact. If you have a small blade that doesn't stick out very far, that'll be one angle. And without changing this, if you put in a blade that's got a deeper, from the spine to the edge, like a meat cleaver or something, it's going to be sticking out further. That's going to be a different angle. So this is just a rough guide on here. If you want a more precise thing, you get the axis cube, and we'll talk about that in a later video. So we've got these that are extra, those big screws. There were some set screws in there. Those are extra. We don't need those. But we still have to use these, and these go onto the abrasive rod holder. So here's the section that clamps the abrasive rod, and here's the extension rod. And we'll take off that nut, and there's an O-ring on there too. We'll take that O-ring off for now. Put those down right there. And what I want to do is put these two pieces together. So not the wooden ball end, the other end, there's this big nut on this other side. They go together, and they go together with one of these thumb screws. Again, just tighten it, thumb screw tight, and that part's done. Then this can slide onto the angle rod holder. Put that O-ring on the end right here. Put this ring on there, and there's a threaded hole that this goes into. So there we go, tighten that in, and now you can adjust that back and forth as you need to for holding it. So basically it's assembled. We do have these silicone pads. If you want to use it as is, you put them on the bottom so you can put it onto a wooden table. Here's a C-clamp. Now the C-clamp is also used to clamp it onto a hard surface. If you're just, getting the base unit, not getting anything extra, you put these pads onto the C-clamp. Yeah, you don't have to use these pads, but they'll help you from marring up your table, your desk or whatever, and marring up this surface here. Basically, you clamp this onto your tabletop, like you see in this still picture. One other thing I forgot. This is the parking adapter. And that's so that you don't have to have your rods sitting like this. The parking adapter slides right onto this main big nut here that goes between the two pieces. And it slides into that hole right there. Now it holds the stone so the abrasives aren't resting on anything. And it holds this rod up so nothing's moving around. That's the assembly. Now, before I mount any knife on it, let me show you the clamps. This is the clamp that comes with the Pioneer. This is the really old school clamp that I got with my K02. It works on here as well. There's my Cadet clamp. This is my K03 hole milled clamp. All their clamps, except for their Blitz clamps, fit on this unit. And how about that little giveaway? Yeah, you can win a set of these quick clamps. Now watch my video on this if you want to know more about these quick clamps. But if you want to win these, leave a comment. Please subscribe. You don't have to subscribe, but please subscribe to this video and leave a comment on this. And on Easter weekend, I'll do a draw. That's the Easter weekend that we do here in the West, around the 20th of April. I'll do a draw and post that video on who wins this. So make sure you've got your YouTube profile up to date, because if we can't contact you, if you're the winner and we can't contact you, you don't get the prize. It will be shipped from TSPROF.US, which means you have to have an address in Canada or the United States to win this. So leave a comment and we'll do that draw then. So now let's do a quick little demonstration on what it looks like with a knife in place and the stones. I've mounted a knife into the clamps, and here's the stone holder. Now I got to show you some things just before we get too far ahead. We've got a stone here, and these stone holders, there's a little bit of an angled tooth right there. Here's the close-up, and that fits right into the end of that. Now from the factory, these might not be adjusted perfectly for stones, and yeah, see this? That's loose in there and the spring's holding. So what we have to do is adjust where this is. Now that's the 2mm Allen key. I'm just using my screwdriver. So I'm pulling this down a little ways and I'll just snug it up lightly. And your stone goes in there and like that. And this spring tension here, up here on the top of the screen, pushing back on there. That's what's holding the stone in place. And now I'm ready to sharpen. Now, like I said, this is roughly what the angle is going to be. What you read right at the bottom is roughly what the angle is going to be. And then you sharpen like normal. Now, yeah, I haven't got it clamped down. That's why it fell over, because it gets pretty front heavy. That's one of the reasons why you have to have it clamped down or get one of the alternative bases. I'll talk about that in another video. But now you can just sharpen away. You might have to adjust this to give you the longest stroke possible. Now, the bigger your blade comes out, the longer your clamps are, the less angle adjustments you're going to have. Here's the series of stones that comes with the system. You get these diamond stones. Let me just bring one over. Here's the diamond stones all the way up to F1000 grit, very fine. So it's just a layer of diamonds on top of an aluminum, or I believe it's aluminum plate, and you get 5 different grits. You've got, actually I shouldn't be putting those together like that because you don't want them, especially after you've used them. You wash these off just with a little bit of water and a toothbrush, maybe soapy water if you want. But the grits go from F150 to 220 to 400 to 600 to 1000. That's enough to get you started on almost anything. They've got other stones. They got their Alpha series of stones, which is their premier series of stones. You can also get silicon carbide stones from them. You can get boride brand stones from them, a lot of different stones. This is the standard size stone. 6 inches, 160 millimeters by 1 inch, what's that, 24.5 millimeters, roughly, whatever that is. That's the standard size, but if you've got shorter stones, they'll fit in that unit. You can put shorter stones. You can put really short stones if you want to, but you're not going to have much of a throw with that. But 6 inches is the longest stone you can put in. So there's aftermarket stuff for this. There's an aftermarket angle holder, which gives you a much greater range of angles. I believe there's an aftermarket rod that's longer so that you can do a longer stroke, especially if you've got longer clamps coming out. You've got L brackets that can change where you can put these clamps. You can bring them all the way to the middle if you need to with the L brackets, or extend them past the outside of where these are right now. There's probably more that you can do as well, and we're going to cover those things in future videos. So I'm going to have a whole playlist of Pioneer upgrades for this system. So stay tuned and make sure you leave a comment. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.